Hey team, before we get onto the podcast today, I just wanted to apologise for the late upload this week. I also haven't been very active on socials over the past few days. Yesterday afternoon, my wife and I took our 4-year-old English Bulldog, Louis, to be put to sleep. His kidneys over the weekend lost pretty much all their function, to the point where his quality of life was non-existent. It was one of the hardest things we as a family have had to do, and also this experience has put a hole in our family that feels irreplaceable. This time last week, Louis was his energetic self, and now he's gone. I was always proud of the story of how we ended up with Louis the English Bulldog. I never thought we'd get one, and now I can't imagine my life without one. About 4.5 years ago, Nicole and I moved into our new house. We'd been there less than a month when I got a message from Nicole, who was volunteering for dog rescue at the time. We'd been asked to look after a dog for a weekend. I thought, sure, why not? Turns out this dog was pregnant, for fuck's sakes. How are we going to get out of this one, I thought. Look, we looked after her until she gave birth to 3 little bulldog puppies. 3 of them didn't make it. There were 2 girls and 1 boy, Louis. He almost didn't make it. She wasn't able to give birth naturally, so if we weren't there, she wouldn't be able to get a C-section, and Louis wouldn't have made it. Louis was the runt of the group, and they quite often don't make it through their first few weeks. It just felt meant to be. We rehomed the mum and the other 2 puppies, but Louis was ours. Over the last 4 years, Louis gave us the unconditional love we always crave, but the kind that only comes from our animals, and in particular our dogs. At the moment, we feel robbed. 4 years old. We have a 1-year-old son. Louis loved him. Louis was supposed to be our family dog. Our kids were supposed to have memories of Louis as they grew up. That won't happen now. Today was my first day back at work. To not hear him squeal of joy as I arrive home is tough. Our home is quiet. I know I should be thankful of the time we had with Louis, and I truly am. And in years to come, I'll come to the realisation of how lucky we were to spend 4 years with the most loving, energetic, funnest, quirkiest and cuddly dog we could ever ask for. A cuddle from Louis would just make a bad day disappear, even if it was just for a moment. Right now we are hurt, angry and gutted. But I'm very thankful to the team at Humanimals who made this process as peaceful for Louis as you could ask. Nicole's friend Crystal works there as a vet nurse. She wasn't working when on a couple of occasions she came in just to help Louis have a chance. And when Louis couldn't make it, she was there again for Nicole. It blew us away. I am also grateful to go through this experience with my wife. I am the kind of guy who likes to ignore pain and suffering because it hurts. I don't like feeling like this, so I keep myself busy and distracted. But every now and then, when time stops and I break down, she's always there ready for me. I'll miss you, Louis.
It's a yes bank maximum, the first of this contest. Oh, that is brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Okay, welcome back, team. Something a little different this week on the Maximum Cricket Podcast. We are going to do a sort of power rankings of international cricket, if you will. They do these in America a bit. I got the idea from a friend of the show, Bill Simmons, who does a power poll. In that, he looks at the form of teams in the NBA rather than the standings. And I thought that could work for cricket. In a sense, we have the Test, ODIs, and T20 rankings, which are obviously based over a 3-year period. So it sort of makes sense, like who's the best team in the last 3 years. But it's who's the best team right now? And how do you actually compare formats? Like you've got Test, you've got ODIs, you've got T20s, but what about just the best team right now? At the moment we've got ODIs, we've got a lot of Test cricket. We've not long finished the T20 World Cup. We've tried to pick the 9 best teams in all format cricket. I know Afghanistan and Ireland have Test playing status, but they actually just don't play Tests. So I don't know what you want me to do. So I've just left them off. Apologies to our Afghan and Irish fans. I don't actually know why they have status, if I'm honest. But that's another story.
Feels more of like a recognition thing, doesn't it, than an actual like you can play Test cricket.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like they don't play at all, and I'm still trying. I think like they do get money. You get funding if you're a Test playing nation. But like, what else do you actually get? Because all these boards just sort out their own games.
It's essentially trying to say, like, you're no longer a minnow nation, isn't it, almost?
Yeah, still got to treat you like one, though.
Yeah, we still won't book you for any test. Like, you're not playing the box that
Yeah,
test, eh?
yeah. There's probably actually, like, as we get into this, we'll probably start to realise there's actually probably more. We're actually getting more minnows and less good sides. Is what I've sort of noticed. So I've sort of broken the 9 teams up into 3 sectors. We've got like the top 2, which, way ahead of anyone else at the moment. Probably not a massive surprise who they are. Maybe the order might be. We've got the 3 and 6. Could be in any order. But these guys, they all have the potential to beat the top 2. They've got world-class players, but they've also got a lot of flaws, and they're just not consistent at the moment. The bottom 3, you could almost call them minnows, but they're not. But they sort of are. Like they're kind of like, if this is promotion relegation, these 3 would be in the relegation zone and like a big gap.
In danger.
Yeah, in danger. They're definitely going down. Afghanistan, Ireland coming up, sort of thing. Maybe that's how the cricket should work in the future. I don't know, but they've got some good players, but they just don't consistently compete with the top 6 across formats. So I guess with that, Jacko, are you ready for our number 9? Anything else you want to add or query before we tuck in?
Obviously, we've sort of discussed behind the scenes that we probably put a little bit of extra weighting to test performances. That's just probably the traditionalist in us, but yeah, we'll get into the rankings and we can sort of explain it as we go.
Yeah. So we'll start with number 9, and we have the West Indies. And Jacko, when I laid the concept of the power rankings to the group chat this morning, you basically said that you're happy as long as West Indies are number 9. So I've got a few notes on the West Indies form of late. Obviously, they've been getting really dusted up by Australia. But do you want to sort of elaborate on that a bit more?
What a fall from grace from one of the iconic nations in cricket we're currently seeing.
It's tough.
Yeah, we're talking trade all your star players, tank for LeBron sort of levels of bad is how bad this team is. I mean, they couldn't get it, and they didn't get into the Cricket World Cup. Like, let's call a spade a spade. They didn't qualify for the Cricket World Cup, which is horrific considering like they've probably got a top 5 T20 league in the world, and then considering the amount of their players that play in the top tier T20 leagues, like that's just embarrassing from a proud cricketing sort of nation. And then, I mean, we don't really need to talk through the last 2 tests. They've been basically a non-contest, I think, and this will really pump up sort of the grade cricketer fans. But I think a Sydney grade side, if you wheeled them out at Adelaide, would have done better.
Yeah, the Adelaide test was tough. Ironically, it's their test team that's probably been in the best form, which...
Yeah, says enough, doesn't it?
That first test was like they fought hard. They batted about 100 over each innings. They've got a couple of good sticks, like Brathwaite looks. He's had a good year. That young Chanapal, he's actually 26, but he's not young. But Chanapal, he looks like he's pretty good. They've got some good quicks, like Joseph. He's genuine 150 clicks. But it is the T20 stuff, the white ball setup, that's like, it's a massive shame, because like you talk about the fall from grace, and quite often you hear from like the Brian Laras and like the powerhouses of the 80s and 90s, and you think of that. But in the T20s, like they won the World Cup in 2012 and 2016, and then 6 years later, to not even make it out of the qualifiers just really shows how big a fall from grace it's been. And it's a shame, because they've got the talent there. Like you said, the CPL is a decent league. They just haven't sort of figured out that relationship between letting your players play franchise to actually getting them back to the country. New Zealand's going through a similar sort of scenario at the moment, and as harsh as I've been on New Zealand, West Indies have handled that a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I think they've got the balance wrong. And I suppose it does stem a little bit from, like, they're not actually a country. Like, they're a collection of countries that sort of come together, and you sort of see it. They do well in T20s because they can sort of get on a roll, but they've never, I suppose they're not that one country, so that doesn't seem like there's that driving desire to play for the West Indies, which you see in those guys that just sort of pimp themselves out almost in a way. So yeah, tough to see, and dead last in the power rankings, and not moving off 9 anytime soon, I don't think.
No, and with that, we'll talk about sort of 7 and 8 sort of together. We've got Bangladesh at 8, Sri Lanka at 7, and before we touch on the bangers, I think, like, Sri Lanka hasn't played a lot of cricket, but they're a wee bit ahead of the bottom two, just because I feel like they've got a bit more in their future. They probably don't have like the household names. I mean, they've got Hasaranga, but it's a pretty young squad with a bit more of a long-term value. They did win the Asia Cup, which is not nothing. They obviously haven't played a lot, but they'll probably be pushing that top 6 in years to come. Jacko, before we get on to the bangers, you happy with Lanka at 7?
Yeah, and I think they're a clear 7. I think it's 9, a clear 9, a clear 8, and a clear 7, and I think we've sort of hit the nail in terms of power rankings. Yeah, as you said, Sri Lanka have that sort of minor tournament win in the Asia Cup, which has a couple of big dogs in it, but missing sort of most of the cream of the crop in world cricket. So, like, it's a good win, but you can't justify it enough to sort of bump it above any of the big countries. And then Bangladesh, I mean, they came pretty hard at Sri Lanka mid-Asia Cup, missed, and Sri Lanka went on to win it. So, yeah, they've got to eat their medicine and fall in behind them in the power rankings.
Yeah. Just on the bangers, I think they're neck and neck with the Windies for that bottom spot. I think there's a world where if you could get the best out of the West Indies talent, I think they'd be better. But for whatever reason, they can't just now.
West Indies easily a more talented side than Bangladesh at the moment.
Yeah. I guess the only thing with Bangladesh is they are pretty strong at home. They did technically win that one-day series at home against India, which is nothing to be ashamed of. It's a very impressive sort of result. We'll obviously touch on India a bit later on, but it says 2-1, but in a way it was tied, and because that last game was such a hiding that you almost forget about the first two games. I mean, when one player, Ishan Kishan, scores more than your whole team, and he's not even like a first stringer, again, says a lot about India. We'll get to them, but that's a bit of a problem. I also have a feeling that India is about to dust them 2-0 in a test series, which starts today. It probably would have already started by the time you hear this. Yeah, I just feel like they're going to get dusted for a bit here. And Jacko, the Bangladesh coach has come out with an interesting curfew for the test team, as he's worried about them staying up late to watch the Football World Cup semi-finals. Reckons because they finish at 3 a.m, they can't perform in the next day against India. So that must mean that they've been staying up late for the last 26 years or however long they've been as a test team.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of more takes, but I'll give you first crack, and this can be our sort of out or not out for today. Where do you sit on the old curfew?
Yeah, interesting. Touching briefly on Ishan Kishan dusting up Bangladesh. Yep. That was pretty much the stay up past your bedtime bowl. Ishan Kishan notoriously was sort of had to be reined in by the Mumbai Indians when they think they paid $1 million US for him out of 19s. And he just would play PlayStation till 5 a.m. Not German, was shit at cricket for the first year he was there. So, obviously Ishan Kishan versus Bangladesh, no one sleeps and one of them scores bulk runs. Anyway, I suppose look, if you haven't had a conversation with your players that, look, we're about to play 5 days of like pretty hard cricket and pretty hot conditions, and like pretty challenging conditions against one of the best sides in the world, to essentially give them a bedtime, yeah, that's probably a playing group issue. So yeah, I'm out on giving the curfew based on the fact that those athletes should be better in tune to that. Not like Bangladesh are in the World Cup either.
Well, it's just like these guys are adults, and they should know what they can and can't, what they can get away with, what they can't get away with. Like, some people don't need a lot of sleep. I mean, we've got fucking Steve Smith, who, he's getting double tons for fun, and he doesn't sleep at all. Famously, doesn't sleep at all. We've got Herschel Gibbs. He's getting boozed up before world record performances. We've got Simon Cromedy, his diet and his running. These are all great athletes that get away with this sort of stuff. And the reality is Bangladesh are going to lose anyway. So what does it matter?
Yeah, let them watch the footy.
Yeah. And I find it interesting. It's just like, we'll obviously touch on England later, but you've got this new wave of coaching where it's just about vibes, and you're not telling people what to do. If you want to come practice, it's up to you. And then you got Bangladesh who are saying don't stay up. Like, I thought we got rid of the style of coaching about like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I thought
it doesn't work.
I thought you bin that off, like when you finish it playing cricket at school, like your coach comes around and gives you your bedtime sort of thing. So, yeah, pretty out on it, to be fair.
Yeah, tough. Okay, righto. We'll start to move on to the contenders, the big dogs, if you will. And like, I think we talked about it in the chat. The three through 6 can really go in any direction. And
yeah, should we give our reasons why all 4 should be 3, and then give our order each?
Yeah.
Or do you want to give me your order and I'll give you mine?
Okay. Or yep. Okay. Well, you give me your order. I guess I'll give my order, and then we'll just go through the teams individually.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. So I've got. Geez, it's tough, isn't it? I'm probably very similar to yours, but I've probably got India at 3. Yeah, New Zealand at 4, Pakistan 5, South Africa 6. So exactly the same as you.
Yeah, so you got the same as me. So there's a bit of suspense there for the same order.
Well, I was just trying to think. Could I justify?
You can
justify anyone going up. I just
want.
remembered South Africa losing to Netherlands and thought, yeah, they're definitely number 6.
Well, that's the thing. They're a funny one, because like you're saying, that you can make an argument for all of them. So like if we start with like South Africa, they've got some of the best fast bowlers in the world. They've got good spinners. They've got the perfect bowling attack you could ask for. Their test team is second in the World Test Championship. It's probably them or India going through to the final. They haven't played a lot of one-dayers. So they're not. I mean, they're going to have to qualify through the qualifiers in that ODI World Cup. They choked against the Netherlands, and then their last Test series they got dusted up by England. I think for me the issue why I've got South Africa so low is that batting lineup is just so short in all formats. Like, I've just got this feeling that the bowling attack might trouble Australia to a degree. I mean, it'd be nice to see Australia get bowled out for once, for a start, and I think they'll do that. But I can't see a scenario where Australia aren't just like skittling South Africa for fun.
Yeah, they feel a couple short, and they have for a couple. They have since Faf retired, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I think, I think there might be one batsman, or there might be one batsman that averages over 35. If I know, I think, which is pretty tough. And they do have strangely enough, have a really good success rate in Australia, which is something that no one else has.
Yeah, they've won their last three trips there, though. They've won the series.
It's quite a weird, like, rivalry in a way, like that's Australia-South Africa, because Australia seem to win in South Africa, and South Africa seem to win in Australia, which is quite something. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to this Test series starting up, because we're going to see some serious pace, some serious bounce, and it'll be nice to see just just to see how good this Australian team, which we'll obviously talk about later, how good they actually are.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as we've said, we are so high on the South African bowling attack. If you paired them with like literally any other batting order in the world, they would be head and shoulders the best team in world cricket. Like our batting order, Aussies, England's, India's, Pakistan. Like just give them any other batting order, and they might be one of the best teams ever. But that is not. So yeah, they have to be at 6, and it's unfortunate, but dark horse, I think, is what you'd call South Africa at the moment, and moving forward.
Yeah, because I think if they can find a way to get runs somehow, and the bowling attack runs right, and they actually do tip Australia up. I mean, they'll be flying up this order that quickly. So that's how this works. We what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So Pakistan, I've got it 5. In all honesty, I think they should be higher. If we did this after the T20 World Cup, they would be 3. I think they'd be a clear 3. I think as a white ball unit, they're, I couldn't be more high on them after that T20 thing. I think them, like I said, South Africa, they have just quality fast bowlers. They've got good all-rounders, and they've arguably, the best white ball batsman in the world, Babar Azam. Yet, they're just getting dusted by England in this Test series on the back of an Aussie. They lost their Aussie home series as well. It's a pretty rough-looking Test team. Like if you can't win a Test at home for 5 Tests, like we'll get to how good England and Australia are later, but somehow like their batting lineup seems to crumble on roads, and their bowling attack, in that last Test was dreadful. It was so. I know they're missing Naseem Shah, Harris Ralph, and Afridi, which is pretty good. But far out, it was a terrible looking attack. They relied on that debutant, who's probably going to roll through New Zealand. Let's be honest. But Jacko, where are you at with Pakistan?
Yeah, and this again, because this is a what have you done for me lately league. They have. Yeah, they're in a free fall at the moment. They're basically playing at half strength against like a generational England side in Pakistan. But as you said, you shouldn't be losing at home. They could not be bowling much worse. Like the England batted twice as fast as them in the first Test. And then their seamers, England seamers took 12 wickets at 3s, and Pakistan seamers were no wickets at nearly 5s, maybe even over 5s for that second Test. That is just such a disparity that you cannot have in your home conditions. So, yeah, they're bowling just horrifically, and as you said, their batting order just seems to collapse when it should be the easiest time to bat. So, 2 pretty big holes that can't be patched over by some glorious T20 cricket.
I don't understand what they're trying to do with their pitches either. I feel like barring that last Test, which was quite good, and I still don't know how they lost that, to be fair, but it was a nice spinning track. We had a good result. The scores went out the gate. There were wickets for seamers and spin, but you look at the Australian series and that first Test against England, and they're just what are we doing with these pitches? Why are you making these pitches that makes it so hard for you guys to win?
Yeah, it's baffling, eh? The fact that you've basically gone, well, let's make this fucking dead, so it's we don't get accused of doctoring or making an unfair pitch, and then going so far the other way that England's only option is to just basically slog until they got something to bowl at. Yeah, it seems bizarre. I just don't know how you can't prepare a pitch that is going to be good to bat on for a few days and then breaks up. If you can get it to break up for day one, how can you not just do that but 3 days later so that it's ready, so that it does break up and it provides that sort of thrilling test match. Like, how's there no in between here?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like we talked about their bowling and stuff. It's crazy. I was just thinking about that T20 attack. Like in that final, even though they lost, just watching Nasim Shah just go straight past the bat of Joss Bartlett over and over again. Like you got Afridi, you got Harris Ralph. Like that bowling attack would have been more threatening in a T20 than they've been in a test match, which is crazy.
Are they injured or are they just not playing?
Yeah, they're all injured. So that's what I mean. Like, are we being harsh because they've got injuries, or I mean, it's 3 good quicks. I mean, but to be fair, you've got Nasim Shah, who's always 19 apparently, and then Harris Ralph. He's only actually played, like, he made his debut the last test, so it's not like he's been playing test cricket a lot. But Afridi's the big one, I guess. Like he obviously got injured in that final. I'm not too sure if he's going to be back for that New Zealand Test series, which will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got on Pakistan. You got anything else to add, or should we move on to the Kiwis?
No, it's just a shame that they've caught the injury bug, and it's sort of, yeah, they've just met the Bazball juggernaut, and we'll get to that shortly.
100%. For now, we'll go at 4. I've got our caps, who could potentially, they could be as high as 3, also as low as 6 if you wanted to be a bit harsh. For me, what puts them apart from Pakistan and South Africa is probably they just have a high floor. Like, they probably don't have the potential of the big 3 nations over all 3 formats, but they don't really have like a weakness either. They sort of do quite well in all of them without being unbelievable. Like semi-finals in the T20s, number 1 ranked ODI team, defending Test champs. It sounds good, but on the flip side, the team is on the decline. They haven't won a Test series since we went to England in 2021, so it's almost a year and a half now, which is a lot longer than you think. Pakistan sort of showed we're a wee way away from being a decent T20 powerhouse. And although it was a good series win against India in the one days, that 3-0 loss in Australia still hurts. We've got a big series coming up against Pakistan. Do you think we can get the result?
Look, I'm optimistic. I think we will take. I think our spinners we're going to take are going to be just as good as England's. And I think my concern is we're not going to bat quick enough. Like England
depends on the pitches, eh?
Yeah, it depends on the pitches. But even that one that was like turning, and like England were 5 for 180 at lunch, whatever it was, like they still took that brave option of like, right, it's tough to bat. Let's just go at it and let's get enough runs while it's still tough. So it's like my problem for us is if that's our morning, we might be 80 for 4 in a similar session, and then it's like, well, then you're 2 wickets away from being 110 for 6 and in a whole lot of trouble. So yeah, that's my concern, is maybe we won't bat quick enough if conditions are deteriorating, or like quick enough to sort of force that big chase that brings about the wickets and the risks and stuff like that. So because they are tough conditions, and we're not going to be taking anyone that bowls 150 or we're not taking a wizard.
Mark Wood.
Yeah, I mean they've got Mark Wood, they've got Jimmy Anderson, who's a wizard. So I suppose we've got our version in Southie. Ollie Robinson, I mean, we'll say this for England, but like seems to be just the best wicket taker ever. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, well said. But yeah, it's going to be a good series. It's going to be on a great time over here. But yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like, are we going to score the runs, and will we score them quick enough? Because I think we've got a very similar attack to that England one. But yeah, their batters are just probably going to score a lot quicker than ours will.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Where we've definitely got more spin options. Like we'll have Ajaz, and then we'll have Bracewell. We'll probably play that'll be your two spinners, and then the other options will potentially be like I can't see Somerville going. I think
Nah.
I feel
a left field selection here for us as Ish Sodhi goes and Ish Sodhi plays a test.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind someone that
or he's in and around the squad because we've done the centre thing. With Somerville let AJs take a 10 for.
There's no one that's actually like I don't know. There's not many genuine spin options in New Zealand, like just genuine spinners, like not all rounders, but genuine spinners. Obviously, I forgot about Ravindra will probably be in that squad, so he'll be floating around.
Yeah, he'll probably play.
But he's sort of another one. But just genuine spin options.
There's no one that's a spinner they're trying to get into the team. It feels like outside of AJs, these batters they're trying to get spin overs out of.
Yeah. So we'll need. I think if the flat pitches like they are in that first test, I think like we're not going to win that. We're just not. I think the only team that could win that is England, like ever. Yeah. Like I just think that we'll just chalk that up to we'll take the draw and we'll move on. I feel like Pakistan have had a bit of a slap on the wrist for those pitches. So hopefully there's a bit of spin. I'm a bit worried about our batting, like facing spin. Like I look at that debutant, that Abra Ahmed, like no one's picking him. He's spinning it both ways. I just can see him running riot, which concerns me a great deal. So that'll be interesting. If we can score enough runs, I think we'll have a decent attack. I think. Yeah. In terms of a squad, like we talk, like there's going to be no Bolt. There's probably I don't know that we know Jameson, which is a shame. He's been injured a long time now, which is obviously you want it to take as long as possible, but it's a shame to see someone so good not on the park.
Yeah, stresses are tough because they do take. You've got your bulk time to get it right, and then you've got that elongated time to build it back up. So, be great to see him back on the park ASAP. But does open the door for friend of the show to hopefully. And if the New Zealand selectors are watching any domestic cricket, Gavin Larson put Jacob Duffy on the flight.
Honestly, TMC will riot if he does not make this team. I think he's been. If you look at in domestic cricket, I think the form two bowlers are Matt Henry, who's going to be there, and Jacob Duffy, and then I think it's a bit of a gap. He's basically carrying the Sataka Volts team because they're not getting a lot of runs out of anyone, and he's keeping them in these games. And this is the best I've seen him bowl. He's like get him in while he's in form. He's been in and around the group. He needs to be in that squad.
Yeah, and as you said, Matt Henry will be there. Matt Henry, Southey. Wagner probably goes as well.
Wagner will be quite crucial, I think.
Yeah, and I think we can't fall into the trap we did in India where we don't play Wagner.
Yeah.
Like, I think Wagner's actually our first pick seamer in Pakistan. As weird as that may sound.
I agree. I think you could probably, like, if you base your attack, if you think of like how England sort of did their lineup, like their bowling attack, they had the one spinner, which is Leach, so that's our AJ Patel. You've got a guy that runs in and bumps people, short spells or long spells for Wagner. So Mark Wood, Wagner, different but the same sort of thing. They rough you up, and then you got two sort of wily campaigners that are hopefully going to get a bit of reverse. Southey and probably Henry. It's probably definitely going to be Henry, to be fair. So that's probably your attack, and then you got your next spinner is probably going to be a Bracewell. You want it because they didn't really like England's second spinner was Joe Root. Like they went the Will Jacks route, and then they sort of gave up on him in the second test. So I think that's a decent sort of attack. So hopefully they'll get a bit out of that. Batting wise, I think the team sort of picks itself. I think Will Young probably deserves another crack. I think he's been scoring plenty of runs. Latham, I think we talked about, he's a class above. That ODI 100 sort of shows that, and then Williamson, Conway, Mitchell, Nichols will be in that squad somewhere, and then probably Blundell, and then Bracewell, obviously. So that's probably your side for the first test. I think we'll call it there. The other sort of elephant in the room is the Caps aren't playing at the moment, and this is obviously in the middle of our summer. So, when that series, so
and
that
not
game,
playing on our shores anytime soon either.
No, so I was just doing the dates before. So from when that last ODI sort of got wrapped up, I think it was November 30th. We don't play again in New Zealand until like February, when England come over here, because we go to Pakistan, then we go to India, scratch their backs, keep the bosses happy, sort of thing, and then we come back. So I just think it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough on the Kiwi public. And then we've got the Super Smash while we go to Pakistan, when we could have had it in this nice wee window. We could have seen our Caps playing. What's Spark got to say about this? They spent all this money on this home summer. Like, what sort of home summer is this?
Yeah, it's it sort of feels like they were trying to almost give the Super Smash its roses and have it set up to be a standalone thing, and the Caps were going to be there. And then they forgot to go to Pakistan. And then there's this gap, and they've probably gone, shit, we need the revenue. We're probably going to have to send you to Pakistan for Christmas, boys. Good luck to you, basically.
Yeah, we fucked them off when we didn't go the other time, so we've got to sort of sort that out.
Merry Christmas, and so it does seem like we were about to get sort of the best version of the Super Smash, and it's sort of, we've had the rug pulled from underneath us, and now we've got no home Black Caps, no Black Caps playing in the Super Smash, and like games on at 6:30 p.m. at night, so we can watch the first two sessions and then be a little bit too drunk on Christmas Day to watch the rest, sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's quite a weird scenario where, like, obviously the Caps are playing the Ford Trophy at the moment, which isn't televised. I think you can get it on YouTube, but we've got, I think today we had, for Canterbury, we had Nichols, we had Latham, we had Mitchell, we had Sodhi, we had Henry in one team, and then in Wellington we had like Finn Allen, we had Devon Conway, we had Bracewell, we had Ravindra. I don't know. There's so many Caps that are playing domestic cricket, and this isn't on TV, but we've got Trent Boult playing for the Stars, which is on our TV. We've got all these guys. Yeah, 2 for 2, looking good actually. We've got all these these contracted players not on it. We can't watch them, but we've got these contracted players. We can watch them. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like if they knew the schedule, like, what was the actual plan for this window, and from between November 30th to December 26th, what was this plan?
Feels like South Africa could be here for 2 tests in this little gap.
Could have been something. It should have been something. Like, I don't understand.
Even South Africa could have been here for 3 one-dayers, or
I don't know why you wouldn't just have the Super Smash in there.
Yeah, how was the plan? Nothing.
How good would that Super Smash be? Like, how good? Like, imagine like that Wellington team versus Canterbury team in a Super Smash game on TV.
Sign me up.
Like that's going to generate like interest in the Super Smash. It's a bit disappointing, really.
Especially after I feel that World Cup did a lot for cricket in terms of viewership, in terms of like games were engaging, lots was happening. Like, we just haven't built off of that. Basically gone, well, that World Cup was all good. We'll play India for 3 games, and then see in February the New Zealand cricket public.
Yep. That's a tough one. Have you got anything else to touch on the Caps, or should we move on there, Jacko?
No, I think we move on. We'll have plenty to sort of review coming up as they play away.
100%. So speaking of sort of India, we originally had India below the Caps because they'd lost an ODI series to Bangladesh after losing to us. They've actually lost quite a bit this year. So they lost a Test series in South Africa. They lost an ODI series in South Africa. They got embarrassed in the World Cup by England, who also beat them in a Test in England. Now they've lost an ODI series to Bangladesh.
Maybe India is 6.
Yeah, but then
they last scored 400.
ODI, they scored 400. Ishan Kishan 200 off 100, 110 or whatever it was. King Kohli 100. Fastest double ton in one-day cricket. It just reminds you that's how good India can be. And so, even though they're losing, they almost didn't because they sort of won that last game. But I guess for me, it's just like having India any lower than 3 doesn't add up.
They're your veteran team. It's like LeBron's Lakers. Maybe not like current years, but even if they're losing, you're like, right. Even if they're average, they'll make the finals because they're LeBron's Cavs sort of thing. They'll make the finals and they might have a shot. So as you said, no matter what their record is, you're probably going to have them at 3 just on visceral reasons.
Yeah, and it's you could probably argue them lower, and that's going to be fine. But I'm also sort of projecting a little bit. They've got a couple of tests against Bangladesh. They should win that pretty comfortably, and then they've got some home tests against Australia early next year. That's going to be interesting. I'd imagine they'll win that pretty convincingly. I think they're still a good shout at making that World Test Championship. I think they've got to win 5 out of 6 tests, which is quite a lot. But when I sort of lay it out to you that it's 2 Bangladesh and it's 4 tests at home, which, I mean, they're pretty good at home. They're pretty unbeatable at home. And I can't imagine Australia, as good as they are at the moment, I can't imagine them actually giving them any sort of chances in that game. So I'll probably see them. It'll be India, Australia in the World Test Championship final, which is pretty mouth-watering stuff, if you ask me.
Yeah, 100%. I think I'd love for that to go to 3 teams just quietly. 2 plays 3, winner plays 1, and they're all in the same country for it.
Oh yeah,
it would be tasty. Because I don't know if we've gone into it in depth in the pod, but I just love the prospect of neutral venue Test cricket. Probably a tangent for another day, but the prospect of teams playing in foreign conditions, both playing in the foreign conditions, is sort of moves the needle a bit for me. But yeah, as you said, India 5 out of 6 tests, not a big ask, especially in their own conditions, and as you said, you just can't leave them out. You can't count them out. They're an aging LeBron. They're a titan in cricket, and they'll always be there or thereabouts.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so moving on to the big 2 at the moment. I think at this point that top 2 has distanced himself from the rest, and there's an argument either way. I think Australia could be 1 or 2, England could be 1 or 2. So I suppose it depends on the formats you value, because I think right now Australia are the form Test team in the world. They have 3 massive series coming up. They've got South Africa at home, India and England away, which will give us a better indicator on where they are. But at the moment, they look untouchable. They're basically through to the World Test Championship final against, as I said, South Africa or India. And I'm probably going to pick Australia against either of those teams in the UK. As an ODI unit, they dusted us 3-0 and a hungover English team 3-0. They only lost 1 game at the T20 World Cup. Jacko, how do you see Australia tracking at the moment? That test team looks good.
Yeah, as you said, they're sort of the cream of the crop, aren't they? Like when Aussie's test team is always sort of the sort of measuring stick for any good cricket side, and they're back to that. The baggy green's back on top, really. Like what they did at Adelaide is almost more impressive than like the first test, based on just they didn't have Cummins or Hazelwood, which is like the best test bowler in the world, and then maybe the second best, and they still like couldn't have tuned up the West Indies anymore. Like I don't know if Cummins and Hazelwood beat them by as much. Like they just obliterated them with basically their MCG specialist and Michael Nessa, who's like their 12th man specialist. So it's like, what is it? What are you supposed to do when they're at full strength if that's them like sort of drips and drabs? So yeah, their test side's very good, very very good actually, and they've got the batting to match it. Like, and they've got the all condition batting to match it as well. I reckon like that team, their top four of
even
Usman,
five, even here.
Travis Head, is batting out the gate. So like you've got like four of those top five are in form and batting unbelievably well, and have scored runs now in all conditions. So yeah, I mean they're battle tested, like they're proven, they're all sort of veterans. So yeah, they'll be hard to catch, and I think they're gonna go on a real tear here for the next sort of 18 months as a test side.
Yeah, like, do we think, like, is this test team, this Australian, are they underrated sort of legacy-wise, do we think? Like, the statistics are starting to, like, rack up for, like, there was that chat about the bowling attack. You got Lyon with 450, Cummins had just past 200. I think Stark and Hazelwood are getting close to 300. I think they said that something about is it the only bowling attack that's all four have taken 200 plus wickets like ever, which seems outrageous. And then you got the batting lineup. You've got all time greats. You've got Warner. You've got Smith. Labuschagne's averaging over 60. Khawaja's almost 50. Travis Head's almost 50. Like, it's starting to stack up against sort of like the old school teams.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. If they do play well for the next 18 months, the conversation is going to be sort of them versus the early 2000s Ponting Australia, like which is the better side. And it's going to come down to like that classic LeBron versus MJ debate of the old heads will be warped with nostalgia, and we will throw stats at you for this current team as to why their legacy is better, because like they've just like accumulated performances after performances. So they're very close to being sort of 1B to Ponting's 1A in terms of great Australian test teams.
I was thinking about it the other day, and I've got a combined 11. I'd like to throw at you there, Jacko.
Holy,
if I can, and
you may.
It's sort of like closer than you think. So we'll start with Matty Hayden and Dave Warner up top. So these are the guys that are missing out. So we've got JL and Khawaja missing out. It's pretty tough, but stats-wise can't argue with that. And then the middle order, I'm going to go Ponting, Smith. I'm going to go Steve Waugh. And then this is where you could, if you wanted to fit Labuschagne in there for stats, you go 6 batsmen, then you go Gilchrist 7. I'm going to go Cam Green at 6 or 7 because I want an all-rounder. Yeah. You could argue like that the old Australian team didn't have an all-rounder, but
got a lot of batting out of Warney at 8, didn't you?
Yeah, I think Cam Green, like he's going to be all time. Let's be real. Bowling attack, it's Shane Warne at 8. It's Pat Cummins at 9. Glenn McGrath's at 11. I think those three sort of pick themselves. I don't think there's any argument. And then the next bowler, I think, is between Hazelwood, Stark, Lee, Gillespie, potentially. And when you look at it, I think if you went Hazelwood, I think it's basically like picking McGrath, Cummins light.
Yeah.
So I don't want the same sort of bowler. Gillespie, I'd probably have him below Hazelwood. I'm going to go Stark. I'm going to go Stark ahead of Lee.
Wow.
Which,
Interesting.
it seems like that's a wrong pick. Like it's like Lee's quick. I think Stark's quick as well. Not as quick, but then you get someone that swings it. You got a left-hander, a little bit of versatility in the attack. And if you stack up their stats side by side, because Stark's pretty close to passing Lee in wickets, it's like Stark's stats are a lot better than Lee's.
Yeah.
In the test format, which you wouldn't think. So
And
that's a team.
Just quietly, if we've got Green at 6, I tell you who isn't far off batting 10 for that team, and that's Nathan Lyon.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know if Warney would be unless you want to go two spinners.
Yeah, I'm saying two spinners.
Oh, if we're going into subcontinent.
Yes, I'm saying we've got Green, Cummins, McGrath, Lyon, Warney.
Yeah. That's actually not the worst shout. That's a good be subcontinent sort of scenario.
Yeah, even don't hate that for Sydney.
Yeah. True. Probably better option how they used instead of going Warne and McGill like two leggies. Let's get an offie in there. That's a pretty good size. So I think it's pretty close, and it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to this South Africa series. It's just going to be these two attacks going at it.
I think we're gonna really see. I think this is an important series for this Aussie batting lineup to be like, okay, like where are they actually at? Because it's like, Labuschagne is good enough to bat ages against average attacks. There's that stat of what his average would be like if all catches were taken, and it's like 20 runs less or something ridiculous. So it's like he actually gives chances. Hopefully South Africa's good enough to take them. And then like how deep into Warner's decline are we? And I think we're about to find out in this series.
Yeah.
Like, I think if he gets a wee scratchy, he might get a 50, or he might get the odd like 30 odd not out chasing something small, and maybe he can get a ton back, or he's going to be very poor, and it's going to be, is it time to have that awkward conversation? So yeah, I think this is a real sort of measuring stick for that Aussie batting order. And yeah, I think that Aussie bowling lineup is going to be licking their lips to have a go at the South African batting order.
100%. Speaking of old Warner, where are you at, Jacko, on that the captaincy renege, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, look, we could do a whole pod rewatch and dissect that whole series.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and look, maybe that is a winter thing for next year. But yeah, basically the fact that Warner has been hung out to dry is the mastermind and the only bloke that knew this was happening, pretty much, is such a crock of shit. And Australia are basically keeping him there to like keep their hands clean, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to his book. That's all I'll say. And yeah, I mean, the fact that Steve Smith can be captain, like, can be waltzed out as this like perfect shining example of redemption, and Warner is still the sort of bully in the corner that is still suspended from school, like, it just doesn't sit right, because like everyone that's played cricket knows what goes on in cricket dressing rooms. Like, you spend too much time and you're too close knit for Warner to have hatched that plan, Steve Smith to just weakly go, okay, I suppose we'll do it, and then Bancroft to like sandpaper the ball, and that Warner's the only one still copping it and tasting it for that. Yeah, seems a bit ridiculous when Smith is like paraded as this like shining example of redemption.
Yeah, it's quite ironic on the same week, like, yeah, Steve Smith is captaining the side. It's just a shame, really. It is. Like, I'm not even a big fan of Warner, but he is an all-time great of the game, all formats. And there's just going to be this black mark on his Test career for something that, like, it was bad. And yes, he was a cock. Some of that stuff he was doing was fucking annoying, but like, Faf du Plessis doesn't get looked upon any differently for ball tampering.
No, Steve Smith
Shahid
doesn't get
Afridi-
looked upon negatively for like ball tampering in the same incident.
Nah, that's right. And like Bancroft doesn't, and like they didn't actually end up doing it. Like I just think the punishment it never fitted the crime, and like let's just move on.
Yeah, the
and
punishment fitted the public outcry, not actually what happened.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we'll put a bow on Australia for now. Let's talk about a number one form side in the world right here, right now. England, ODI World Champions, T20 World Champions. They've won 8 out of the last 9 tests. They beat the reigning Test champs 3-0. India, they beat South Africa in a series, and now they're up 2-0 in Pakistan. But it's just so much more than just winning. It's just how they're winning. They're completely redefining how it is to play this game of cricket. It's just unheard of. Like they're removing the stigma of getting out and failing, which is something that's been around cricket since I can remember. It's absolutely crazy. Like 650 and 100 overs, and Root and Stokes failed. I mean, that sentence right there doesn't make any sense. We've got Harry Brook. He's played 3 tests. He looks like Kevin Peterson for me. I mean, this English side, why do we love them so much?
Yeah, I mean, just the way they're playing cricket and the way they're winning games is like just out of this world, isn't it? Like we haven't seen this, and we saw it against. I suppose we were the first victims of Bazball, and everyone said, anomaly, like, let's see how long it lasts. And then South Africa came, and Dean Elgar was gruff and said, we've got 4 guys that bowl 145 and swing it both ways, and let's see how fucking Bazball stacks up to that. And shock, it did. And then India came and lost a test match, and it was like, okay, like, Bazball could be for real here. And then sort of the England dressing room, with that newfound sort of confidence, went to the World Cup and fucking blitzed that as well. And it was like, oh shit, like, this team could be really, really good. And then they've gone to Pakistan and done like something we've never seen before in terms of the way Test cricket's played and the way to be successful in Test cricket. And it's like, okay, this sort of flash in the pan, like really good to watch cricket, is actually sort of could be sustainable, and it is so good to watch, and they're winning games, and it's just, that is just so entertaining, and you're always gonna want to watch it and see who's scoring runs and how quick they're scoring them and what they've set them and what the chase is going to be, and shit, how daring are they going to be this time? So yeah, they're just playing phenomenal cricket, and that's sort of all I've got for you.
Yeah, I mean, like when you talk about this Test team at the moment, like the obvious things to talk about is their batting. Obviously, like Harry Brook he looks like an absolute superstar. Like I thought his 100 in the second Test was phenomenal. It's just the way, like, it's not all put the foot down at all costs. They actually do have other gears they can reach. They just play. They just sum up the situation, and they go as hard as they need to go, and they're not worried about how it looks. But the thing for me that's probably the most baffling is probably their bowling. Like, how have they taken 40 wickets in the last 2 tests on these wickets? How is it the seamers like Jimmy Anderson, Ollie Robinson, like those two have been unbelievable. Obviously, Mark Wood was sensational in that last innings, but like Jimmy Anderson, that nut to Rizwan is, how's he done that? He's 40. Yeah. He's 40. I think he's like, I read like his stats from age 35 to 40 is like almost 200 wickets at fucking, or it might be over 30, whatever it is, but it's over 30. He's like 200 wickets at like 20. It's like
it's
basically like Pat Cummins. He's getting better. Like he's actually better.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And what I just cannot understand is how Ollie Robinson is this, like, he's sort of doing what Colin de Grandhomme did there for a bit. Like, Colin de Grandhomme, you're like, right, he just slogs it and he sort of bowls nibbly medium pace, and then you check his record and he's got a couple of tough hundreds and some quick 70s and a few fifers. And you're like, well, okay, like, I'll watch it, and it's like, that isn't what you need to be successful in Test cricket, but it's like doing the job, and it feels sort of like that with Ollie Robinson. Like, he bowls 125 Ks, like, he basically got told he was fat and Aussie and couldn't play. He started bowling offies in a Red Bull game because it was flat and he was tired. Like, just like, it's just all the stuff that you look at and you go, like, that isn't what successful Test cricketers are. And he just fucking takes poles and takes big poles. Like, it's unbelievable.
His nut to Babar Azam was arguably, it might have been better than the Rizwan delivery of Anderson. Like, that is top of off. It's come back an absolute mile. Like, it's a credit to them. It's also a credit to them tactically. Like, they haven't just outperformed Pakistan in this series. They've tactically been superior in someone else's home conditions. Like, they're getting that ball to reverse. They seem to be getting their selections right. It's incredible. Like, it was only a year ago they couldn't pick a team. They didn't pick a spinner, and then they had to bowl fucking Ollie Robinson spin. And now you've got like Jack Leach has been backed so hard from Ben Stokes. Like, sometimes I wish New Zealand would back their players like they do, like England do. Like, imagine if Ajaz Patel had the same support that Ben Stokes was giving Jack Leach. He'd be a far better bowler. Like, Jack Leach isn't amazing, but he's just doing the job, and his captain, like, just backs him wholeheartedly. Like, Mark Wood's another one. Like, that spell yesterday was phenomenal. Like, that changed the game. Like, they were going to lose that game. I don't know how Pakistan didn't win that game when they had 60 odd runs, 5 wickets in hand, and then Mark Wood just makes something out of nothing. It's incredible. It's going to make, I tell you what, it's making, I just cannot wait for the Ashes.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, this next Ashes series is sort of being built up as like one of the greats. Like, we could have another, hopefully, like 05 sort of series on our hands. Like, this could be one that's 1-1 going into the 5th test, or like every game should have heaps on it, or like 2-2 going into the 5th test. Like, hopefully this is sort of gonna lead into one of the great series. So England playing unbelievable. They've got their white ball sort of dominance of the last 2 to 5 years potentially. So yeah, a very easy pick for number 1 for me in the power rankings.
Yep. Happy with that. Jacko, anything else you want to touch on?
No, I'm good, mate. Is there anything we need to go over?
No, I was just going to sort of wrap it up with the sort of like the plan for the next couple of pods. Hopefully we'll get a full crew on next week. Final pod of 2022. Got to do another mailbag. So, it'd be good to get fire in some questions via Instagram or email. We'll put some links in the old show notes. We will record next Wednesday. So get your questions in before that. Then we have a mini break over the Christmas New Year. Then first pod in 2023. We're going to do like an awards night for the 2022. I'm talking MVPs, Rookie of the Year, heaps more other sort of awards for the whole year, all formats. Snack of the Year. So let's just, if you've got any nominations, fire them through.
Listeners of the Year.
That'd be a good one, actually. That'd be a good one. Question of the Year would be a good one. Question of the year. That'd be a good one.
Producer of the year?
Yeah. It'd be a tough one. Just sort of like, producer Gav. Yeah. Producer Gav. He's been, he's been the driving force of the show. So, so like heaps stuff. So keep an eye out for that. Like if you haven't, give us a rate and review. It helps us grow. So appreciate those who have. If you want early access, check out Patreon. Normally get a good wee 12 to 14 hour head start. And if I made an editing mistake, you get to hear that before I have to clean it up. So, I mean, that's something. That's something. But yeah, other than that, thanks again for listening. Thanks to Jacko, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Catches.